point. A night magician's pendulum on a dark green hill, encircled by gardens of flowers, immense old trees, fountains, and set against a starlit night sky, we find the cave entrance to the cavern home of the night magician. A home dedicated to the ancient practice and knowledge of night magic. A home that is as ageless as the stars that it is dedicated to. As we enter this beautiful home, through its ancient portal, we can see into the magician's study and find the Ancient One, busy in observation of the stars through a cavern window. We continue to enter, very quietly so, as not to disturb the Old One, when suddenly we are startled by the resounding chimes of a huge grandfather clock, in its act of proclaiming the hour of the night. The most striking thing about the clock is its beautiful, ornate brass pendulum. The pendulum swings side to side, ticking away the hours. We all know that the pendulum is set so that time is measured out with the greatest of accuracy. But the pendulum is not just for telling time. The pendulum is also a valuable tool for the night magician. So let's leave the Old One and move to your magician's study to take up the study of the night magician's pendulum. Your pendulum is not going to be as ornate and beautiful as the one you just observed at the magician's home, but it is based upon the same principle. The pendulum is made up of a long arm with a weight suspended on the end. The pendulum you will use is simple to make. You will want to construct at least 2 pendulums. One will require a string at least 48 inches long, and the other about 12 inches long. A strong sewing thread will serve very well as the material from which to make the string. The weight you use can be made of a variety of things. The weight can be made of a round ball, about 1 inch in diameter, and constructed of wood, plastic, glass, or a neutral metal. You should have pendulums on hand made up of a variety of the materials just listed. You can also use a simple ring as a weight. Another very simple weight you can construct will require an unused pencil and sewing needle. Put the point of the needle through the top of the eraser, so that the needle will remain attached to the pencil. Then, put the thread through the eye of the needle and tie it off, and so, you have the complete pendulum. Once you have made, or acquired, your pendulums, what are you going to use them for? Your pendulum will answer questions that range across the entire spectrum of your imagination. Have you lost a ring and want to find it? You could find missing people or a lost pet. The pendulum can answer questions you have concerning most any topic that you wish to pursue. But how can it do this? For part of the answer you must look to your old friend, the silent magician. The pendulum is an instrument used by the silent magician to give you the answers to the questions that you put to her/him. In review, you will remember that your silent friend is very brilliant and there is very little that he does not know, or cannot find out, since they are in direct contact with all other silent magicians. You will remember that your entire body has an electrical field which completely surrounds it. When you have the pendulum suspended from your hand and ask your magician a question, he alters the electrical field of your body. That field also surrounds the pendulum and causes it to move. The pendulum's movement has been set in a certain pattern to indicate yes or no. The silent magician is not the only one who can alter the movement of the pendulum. Any resident of the higher realms can also alter your electrical field, and so the movement of the pendulum, if they know how. As a rule, the entity working with you, and through the pendulum, requires some time, before they really can manipulate the pendulum well. So not only can you receive information from your silent magician but also your guides and teacher. Before studying the mechanics of how to use the pendulum, you must prepare yourself to use the pendulum. The how-to of self-preparation is relatively simple to state, but often hard to achieve. You begin by being sure your hands and body are clean, otherwise this will interfere with your body electricity. You must have a calm and receptive mind. Your mind must be in a relaxed state and without nervous tension and fears. Your mind must be prepared to concentrate on only one thing, and that is what you are trying to answer. Your mental attitude must be a serious one when you approach this lore. If you have achieved this self-preparation in mind and body, then you're ready to begin learning how to use your magician's pendulum. First, you will prepare your magician's study for the use of the pendulum. Be sure the room will be free from interruptions. Then erect a table to work on that is made up of only a hard top surface and 4 legs. Nothing should be under the table, for this will interfere with the reception of the proper answer. In all cases, you will want to have blank, clean, and used, white sheets of paper. The standard, 11 by 8 white typing paper will be fine. This is the paper over which you are going to suspend your pendulum. On the paper, you are going to draw in the center a large plus sign, plus. At the top and bottom of the paper, you are going to write the word, yes. On the right and left sides of the paper, you are going to write the word, no. You will use a new sheet marked in this way for each set of questions asked pertaining to a certain area of examination. Please be sure and use a fresh sheet for each set of questions asked, for when questions are asked, the paper becomes saturated with the impressions from those questions, and these impressions will interfere with any other set of questions asked. To begin, you must formulate the questions you are going to ask. For example, where is my lost gold ring? The question must be simple, clear, concise, and unambiguous. Then you must invoke the night killer around yourself and your magician's study or the place you're working in. If you don't do this, then any force may use the pendulum and cause misleading answers. After this, you'll take the short string pendulum between your hands and concentrate on the night force around you. Then ask the question 3 times. Then, take the string of the pendulum and wrap it around the first or second finger of the right hand, if you are right-handed, left hand, if you are left-handed, such that, when you rest your elbow on the table, the weight of the pendulum is about an inch above the paper and suspended over the plus sign. Then, begin asking, if the ring is in the kitchen sink, and so on. You can tell, when the pendulum is answering you, because it will swing with purpose. Be sure and wait between each question, till the pendulum answers. If the pendulum makes a circling motion, this indicates uncertainty. Either the force guiding the pendulum doesn't know, the question is ambiguous, or they refuse to answer the question. Try asking the question in a more precise and clear way, and if there is still uncertainty, go on to another question. If you ask a question that involves a geographical answer, then you will need a map. If the search area involves a large area, use a map of small scale. This is a map which covers a large area of land on a small amount of map area. Then, when you have found a more precise location, use a larger scale map to get a pinpoint location. In order for you to use the map, place it on the left side, and the plus marked paper on the right. Take the pendulum over the map area and ask it to reveal the location of what you're looking for. Then hold the pendulum over the white sheet of paper as before, and as you ask your question, you'll move your left forefinger slowly over the map area. The pendulum will swing in the positive direction when you have reached the right area. This completes the instruction on the use of the pendulum indoors. It takes practice to gain mastery over the use of the pendulum. You must be sure and use simple language and concentrate strongly on the question you want answered. Perhaps you've seen, or even used, some form of dowsing rod to locate water. The dowsing rod works on the very same principles as the pendulum. For uniformity and familiarity, you are going to use the pendulum outdoors in locating not only water, if that is what you want, but anything else you desire. For this method, you will now need your longer string pendulum. To start with, you must prepare the pendulum for your use. Let's say you want to find gold. Then you will need to place in, or on the weight of the pendulum, a sample of gold. This can be as small as a flake, but it must be pure gold. Further, you must put under your feet another piece of gold. The gold must be pure, so for example, if you use your wedding ring, be sure it is solid, pure gold. Then, with your pendulum in the correct hand, you will again ask your silent magician or guides to find gold for you. Then, loosely holding the string in the proper hand, slowly lower the weight towards the ground until it swings in a definite circular motion. You will need to experiment with the proper length of string, until you get just the right length which gives you the best circular motion. At this point, you should mark the string with a knot, and color code it, and record it for future reference. You can apply this same technique to anything that you want to find. You should take the time to prepare your pendulum for all the things that you will want to find. In all that you do with the night magician's pendulum, you should remember certain key things in its proper use. You should remember that in talking with your silent friend, you want to use the simplest and most direct language, and to repeat it at least 3 times. You should always remind your friend that you need her/him, because what you ask her/him to do for you, he does for her/himself, too, that you are one in thought and purpose. So be sure that whatever you decide to do, that it is in agreement with your inner beliefs. If you try to use it for something you know to be wrong, then you're silly.